Wait a minute, baby. Stay with me a while. Said you give me love, but you never told me about the fire. All right. Let's do it. Okay, we're here. All right. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. We actually have people tonight watching from all over the world. So I'm just really grateful that you are here to watch Expressing Motherhood. I'm Lindsay Cavett and I am the director. And I'm grateful that you're here tonight. Thank you for supporting mom writers and this mom director. Expressing Motherhood is 12 years old and we've been to multiple cities across the nation. We've been to New York City, San Francisco, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Dubuque, Iowa, Louisville, just to name a few. And look at us now. We can barely leave the house, but the show must go on, of course. We have another show lined up for you in December, and announcements about future shows will be made soon, so please stay in touch. I want to keep gathering with you guys once a month. It gets me out of dinner. We have, oh gosh, that's it. All right, you guys, that's it. Normally I'd ask you to turn your phone off at this point, but some of you are actually watching from your phones, I'm sure. Audience, we cannot see you or hear you except for Susanna, Morgan's mom's friends, so you can do whatever you want. Please tag us on social media. The hashtag is XMoShow. And most importantly, thank you for being here and enjoy the show. So first off, we have Tali Harcum. She's a mom of 3 kids. She's a graphic designer, and she's recently decided to go back to school to get a postgraduate degree in secondary education to become a high school art teacher. I'm gonna find you. Hold on one second, Tali. There you are. Okay, let's make sure you're unmuted.
You hear me?
You got it. Go for it.
Hi everyone. Okay, sorry, I'm getting okay. We moved across the world during the pandemic. This decision didn't come lightly. I have lived in LA for 21 years. I moved when I was 19 to be with my husband, ended up going to university at Cal Arts, opened up an art bookshop, worked as a freelance textile and graphic designer, and had 3 kids. I just turned 40. We found out that my 2 younger kids' school was going to close on the 11th of March via an email saying they would shut for 2 weeks. The next day, another email from my older son's school arrived in my inbox saying they were, in fact, going to be closing for 5 weeks, returning after spring break. I remember thinking, what bullshit. This is so typical, overprotective, pandering to all the private LA school parents. Why the fuck are they going to be closing for 5 weeks? And more importantly, what am I going to do with a 13-year-old at home for that long? 2 days later, the 3rd email came, again, from my 2 younger kids' school. It read something like, we don't know when school will return. Tomorrow is the last day. Please make sure your child or children pack everything up from their desks and take it home. The first week, or was it 2, who even knows, during homeschool was fun. Dare I say, it was amazing. We walked, hiked, tie-dyed, baked, did yoga. My 8-year-old even taught herself to ride a bike. My kids started putting their own laundry away. Everyone had a job and everyone more or less did it. All these silver linings, how fabulous. Man, things shifted fast. March turned into April, which turned into May, which turned into June, which turned into I need to go home now. I needed to be with my family because who knows when I would be able to see them again. I needed a country whose government was looking out for its people because again, who knows if we got sick, would we be able to even go to a hospital? What would happen? My mum is a school teacher in Sydney. She had told me the schools had closed for a couple of weeks, but they were now open. They basically closed all state borders and shut the country down. You couldn't and still can't enter if you are not a citizen. There were different protocols. I felt that it would be negligent of me, of us, not to come back to my home, where my kids could have a normal life, go to school, real life in-person school, What a motherfucking luxury school has turned out to be. Who knew? Not I. I booked our tickets back home. Luckily, my kids have dual citizenship. Our flights were cancelled twice. I panicked. I was furious at my husband for these cancellations and for making me live in LA. All direct flights to my home were now non-existent. I got us on a flight through New Zealand that consisted of over 20 hours travel time. We arrived in Sydney, Australia in mid-June. I was elated and terrified. Am I going to screw up my kids for life? What was I thinking, taking them across the world during a pandemic? What the actual fuck had I just done? We accomplished the 2-week hotel mandatory government paid quarantine, and yes, it was a big bloody accomplishment. Then we were set free. My kids are all in school, not Zoom, but real life school. They get their temperature checked every morning, and that is it. You would not know there is a pandemic going on down here. There are no masks, no plastic bank teller style partitions at their desks. They are loving it here, albeit miss LA, our house, our pre-COVID life, but I definitely miss it the most. I miss my old LA. I miss driving in the traffic, the smog, the easiness, the complexity, the creativity, the restaurants, Griffith Park, the artisanal cheese and butcher shops, but most of all the people. I am not sure when we will be back. We are taking it week by week. I hope it won't be too long, but I've also made a promise to myself that until school is back in person and there is some normality for the kids, we will stay put here in Australia where they can catch a bus to go for a surf after a long day at school. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tali. All right. So interesting. So I just wanted to remind you, we'll do a 20-minute Q&A afterwards. All right, next we have Courtney Crane coming up. Courtney is thrilled to return to Expressing Motherhood, she says, but we're thrilled to have her. If you've been here to our shows in LA, you've seen Courtney. A few of her stories are up on the Expressing Motherhood podcast. She writes stories, works at the USC Pacific Asia Museum, and wrangles her grown-up family. You can find her on Instagram at Courtney Crane. I'm going to find you. Okay, Courtney.
Okay. We flew our baby girl to college in our southern hometown. Wearing shields and masks, we stood on green circles 6 feet apart at the Hyatt Hotel College Welcome Center for temperature checks and orientation packets. I wanted to look cute for college move-in, but I was rumpled and sweaty in my linen maxi dress, ankle brace, and worn sneakers. When our daughter came back from her COVID tests, swinging her new college swag bag, I caught a couple of sideways glances in our direction. I tend to forget that our college freshman is a tall Chinese-American girl, bookended by us, her short, stocky, white, middle-aged parents, and sometimes people stare. 18 years ago, we were handed this pudgy-cheeked baby girl in China, in a Hyatt Hotel conference room with a really bad pink and gold swirly rug. And now we're in another Hyatt, lining up on another bad rug, about to move our baby into college and officially become empty nesters. Only one parent is allowed in the dorm, so my husband goes. He's good at carrying bags and calmly putting together shelves and making it fun. I'm not good at any of those things. I just wanted to at least hang the fairy lights, but I couldn't. While they moved in, I sat at my brother-in-law's house, dying to day drink, but eating peanut butter in their pantry while glancing at my phone for move-in updates. This was my husband's turn for college move-in. I took our son to college. I got him Kit Kats and condoms. I gave him a teary hug goodbye, and he was set until he wasn't. He was not a college kid. He is an essential worker that you may have met in a certain burger joint if you asked to speak to the manager. My daughter, my baby girl, is why I'm an empty nester. I miss her so much. I push those feelings down past my ungroomed COVID toenails. But we're in a pandemic. How can I whine about missing my daughter who's off at a swanky university while the homeless woman on my sidewalk is passed out clutching a bag of hot dog buns, and people are dying alone on ventilators or being shot for running while Black? How dare I articulate my empty nest grief in the black cloud of 2020? And I know my husband and I should be having 11 a.m. sex on a Tuesday in our empty nest, but we each have back-to-back Zoom meetings and don't emerge from our corners till it's time to put the pot pies in the oven. I'm not one of those cool empty nester moms who brag about how great their launched adult kids are doing. These usually skinny moms with good hair and good bank accounts get to bask in the freedom of hosting dinner parties and planning couples trips to Tuscany. I don't. I miss my daughter's late night piano serenades of old Elton John ballads and her homemade snickerdoodles. She doesn't seem to miss me except when she needs me to ship her forgotten black ripped jeans or that shot glass from Joshua Tree. Since starting college, she's had our zip code tattooed on her rib cage, bought a fake ID, hunkered down for 5 hurricanes, and goes out for margaritas with her COVID pod. She's not pitiful. When she does text me, I drop everything and bombard her with questions until the ... fades away with no reply. And I miss her voice. Her annoyed voice is better than no voice at all. I'm officially an empty nester, but I'm not nesting. I'm just empty. I walk in my daughter's room strewn with tank tops and hair ties and broken earbuds, and my throat tightens. The dog comes in too, sniffing her piles of clothes, and we lie down together on her fuzzy rug. I just want to kiss the flat bridge of her nose that I used to call my favorite spot. And she'll be home soon enough for holidays and online exams. She'll hang with her hometown pod, and we'll probably fight over curfews and cars. And if I'm lucky, she'll bake more snickerdoodles. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
All right, so next up we have Nicole Bowman. She is a mom to 3 girls under the age of 5. She just had a baby recently. Once an educator, she relishes in all things word-related, writing, reading, and speaking. A self-proclaimed Jane of all trades that is currently on a crusade as a pen wielder of motherhood truths. All right, Nicole, we'll see if the baby slept. Where are you? I have to find you. Sorry, guys. There you are. And then I'll have you unmute yourself.
She's still asleep, so we're good. Yay! Okay. So, motherhood is all the things, which has become my motto, and certainly all the things have been amplified during the pandemic. I was enjoying a family beach house getaway when the pandemic escalated. And as we headed home and I sat in the car scrolling through what seemed like craziness with mom friends posting locations that still had toilet paper and sharing videos of obnoxious lines to enter Trader Joe's, I thought the idea of a pandemic would be short-lived. I was 4 months pregnant and my other 2 children were nearly 4 and 2. I had no idea that my children's birthdays would be celebrated under quarantine, or that my mom wouldn't be allowed to be present for the birth as she had been before. How could I know the trajectory of the next several months? How could I know that I would be contemplating what is safe for the holidays? How could I know that I would be faced with making complex choices daily? I couldn't. It has been exhausting mothering under the strain of the pandemic, which was an additional stressor on an already taxing several months. Before the pandemic, my alcoholic addict dad attempted suicide. My mom, sister, and I spent months pouring ourselves into helping him, help that he adamantly refused. Eventually, we were done. Perhaps the years of his behavior towards us finally came to collect, and we no longer had a reserve to endlessly pay his tab. My dad is no longer in my life. My dad is homeless. My dad doesn't know that I grew and birthed a whole human. I was processing the loss of my dad as I was celebrating the new life I was gaining. I was attempting to help my 4-year-old process the loss of Papa G. I was attempting to process my conflicting truths, grief, and overwhelming relief. Therapy, adulting, and mothering felt like I was juggling swords. And then COVID-19 hit, and all of a sudden, someone sneakily lathered the swords in lube. The first quarantine birthday was for my eldest daughter, her 4th birthday. And I was so sad because I was keenly aware that she was experiencing the abrupt disappearance of my dad. And now I had to explain that a virus was taking more people from her, albeit temporarily. I cried, I cursed, I got on board with the Zoom birthday party. My friends planned a surprise drive-by celebration. And at the end of her birthday, she proclaimed it was the best day ever. I felt like I had flipped COVID-19 the finger. As the pandemic progressed, my confidence dipped because I was dependent on people. And as a general rule, I don't like people. The people did not disappoint. They were not following the recommendations, numbers were increasing, and ultimately hospitals were left with no choice but to limit the number of birthing support persons. And just like that, my mom and doula were going to miss the birth of my 3rd kid. Rules tightened even more, and if my husband or I were COVID-19 positive, I would be birthing alone. How do you accept all the things when all the things are monumental and in flux? Needless to say, I was exhausted. I am still exhausted. Yet, I was trying to model good coping skills, leaning into meditations and breathing exercises with the kids. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I had to hold it together. I had a small window after bedtime to identify, process, and accept my feelings around all the things. Those precious post-bedtime moments were laden with tedious conversations about who to see, where to go, how to make it feel more normal, how angry, scared, and sad we were about the virus. Motherhood during the pandemic has been all the things. And what keeps me awake, binging mind-numbing Netflix series, is that there is no clear answers regarding the end of the pandemic, how to navigate the complexities the pandemic forces upon us, or what will happen with my dad. So I know more things are coming, but I can't think about that in this moment because it isn't after bedtime and I have to just be mom right now.
Yay. Sorry. Thanks, Nicole. Bravo. Okay. Next, we have Susanna Morgan. Susanna is the mother of 2 teenage boys, and she's a 2nd grade public school teacher. She's an oversharer and a cautionary tale, and this is her 3rd time performing in Expressing Motherhood. She recently performed, in the Creativity Festival's Artist's Way Night, and previously in Spark Off Rose. So Susanna, I'm gonna find you. There you are. Okay, thanks, Susanna.
My son became a teenager the 2nd official week of the pandemic shutdown. No friends, no party, no trip to Israel with dad to become a bar mitzvah, no hugs from his beloved Lala. He did revel in waking up to a room filled with 50 balloons and a happy birthday banner. We'd celebrate soon, we told him. 13 is a big deal. Alas, as we know now, because here we are on Zoom instead of in a theater, we remain at home. And he has become what I call the man-child of the pandemic. Soon after he turned the big 1-3, I expected that horrific change everyone warns you about. Talking back, surliness, acting out, rages, basically overnight. What I got instead was a snuggly kiddo. He'd curl up with me in bed, kicking my fiance out of his spot, holding my hand and asking me to spoon. He'd cry about how turning 13 was too much responsibility, the expectations too high. I finally caved after months inside and went on a field trip to Walgreens with him. I spent $60 on Pez and slime kits and fart putty and other toys from his young childhood. He was so thrilled. He was also clearly regressing. Always shorter than his friends and a late bloomer, he'd been obsessed with pre-pandemic about catching up in height to all his middle school buddies. He'd grilled the pediatrician, lamented, researched, obsessed, talked incessantly about it. When we'd gone back to school shopping for 2019-2020, he was psyched that he'd gone up a size, almost, if he'd inhaled deeply and stood up really straight. A rare upside of the pandemic, which no one could see, was he went through not one, but 2 growth spurts. He put on at least 1.5 inches with a feeding schedule to rival The Rock on cheat day. Finally, I could take him online shopping. Yet somehow he managed to still squeeze himself into his old size 12 jeans that needed to be a 16. He shimmied into his size XL tees, kids, that now needed to be a men's medium. He wedged himself into his signature hoodies, faded and fraying. He even squished his feet into his outgrown shoes. He wouldn't even buy new flip-flops for summer. He wore my magenta and orange Hawaiian floral ones to the beach, having outgrown his plain black pair. I was amazed he could even walk in his beyond skin-tight pants and foot-binding routine. All spring, summer, and fall, I offered to buy him a whole new wardrobe, sometimes daily. I created accounts online at his favorite stores, Tilly's and Vans, and said to fill the carts up. I even said I'd take him in person to the Vans store for new shoes, but he wouldn't shop, refused to look. He had every excuse in the book. Later, tonight, tomorrow, he wanted to go with his dad. It's been going on for 8 months now. When his feet absolutely couldn't fit into his shoes anymore, he took out the prized Jordans from his closet, a gift from his dad that couldn't even be worn, only displayed, lest they crease, and started wearing those. My teen, my man-child is, I fear, afraid to grow up in a pandemic. He wants to stop time, stop it until it's normal again. He's Han Solo in Carbonite, alive, but not. He's frozen in time, starting March 15th, 2020.
Thanks, Susanna. All right. Next up, we have Takira Briscoe. She's a loving wife and mother of 2 and is also a poet and a blogger and an aspiring author. She is currently working on her first book, and you can find her on Instagram at Naturally Kira. I'll put that up there. All right, Kira, here we go. Okay.
I wake up to the sound of my children's pitter-patter. I pretend to sleep. I probably shouldn't. But I'm listening for the sounds of independence or ingenuity on how they handle things when mom's not watching. Either that or I'm lazy. Maybe both. The early bird may get the worm, but this night owl needs to dream out loud. So I cherish the time between bedtime and breakfast, since that's when I can just breathe. Exhale the doubt and reflect on the day, like, I yelled at my daughter today and got really impatient with my son. My husband says I'm neglecting him and I wish I could just run until everything makes sense. But I'm tired. It's like I signed up for a lifetime sentence of clue. Don't have one and can't buy one. So until God has mercy and gives me wisdom on what to do, I just have to guess. At 22, I was thrust into a managerial position I never earned. Brown eyes look into mine, and it's my turn to create my greatest masterpiece. But nobody gave me the tools. They just said, paint. He's waiting for instruction and construction. A productive, healthy, and whole human, a child of God. But question, how do you make a dedicated father, a righteous brother, an upstanding man, and a diligent worker from the flawed pieces of your own personality? And that's just the boy. The girl is a whole other world of sass and class and attitude with caramel skin. And I'm over here trying not to create my own evil twin. What if my not so good parts of me were me without the covering of him? I can't imagine what that would look like. And I can't let that happen. So I wing it. Now what? I'm supposed to give structure and teach them independence. How do I let them lead but encourage them to listen? Headbutts with my daughter like two bullhorns locked into a fight. She's upset, I'm impatient. She's crying, but I'm the mother. I'm always right. Right? Maybe not. I don't know. Emotional outbursts with my son, the feelings swell to levels so high, they leak out of his eyes like the ocean tide. It's quick and unexpected and catches you by surprise. I tell them to breathe. Breathe with mommy. Deep breaths. Hug mommy. Deep breaths. Do deep breaths work all the time? Every time? I don't know if there's enough deep breaths in the world to calm my mind. I don't know a lot of things, like anything. So let me check the books. Is it okay that I yelled, and what should I cook? Let's be honest, I can't cook. So what will they eat? Are they eating enough? What about veggies and fruit and exercise and weight? What about sleeping and playing and learning at a slower pace? What about homeschool and math and reading and writing? And Lord knows I don't know anything about science. What about their socialization? I tell them not everyone is your friend, but also what about adultification? See, I have to protect their innocence. The realization that I may be creating codependence, I push them past my own insecurities. Praying I'm not cultivating more of their own. Don't be just like me. Whether at grade level or above level, I think I need to get eye level so they can see the reflection in my eyes. I see you as nothing less than a prize. Baby, it's not you, it's me. Mommy doesn't know what she's doing. I listen to the chitter chatter of their little talk, watching tablets and playing games too early in the morning. I don't say anything because their sibling bond is forming. At least that's what I tell myself. I lay in bed awake, waiting for them to call my bluff. And I do the one thing I know to do, hoping that it's enough. I pray. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. So beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, the comments. It was poetic. Okay, I have to keep going. All right. So next up, we have Kristen Briggs. She is an artist based in Los Angeles, and she's actually the one who designed our cute totes. Thank you to those of you who bought totes. We've placed the order. They're a little behind. Everything's a little slow due to COVID, but you'll be getting those. She's a wife and mom of 2 boys, ages 10 and 11, and she is surviving the pandemic by doing virtual pop-ups in her living room. She's designing really cute face masks. And now for the very first time, she is reading her writing to a live audience, you. You can follow her on Instagram at Chachi Loves Design. So I'm gonna come find you, Kristen. There you are. Okay.
Okay. I talked to my mom last night. When I answered the phone, she said, "Hi, Bertie, it's your mom. I wanted to see how you're feeling about everything." We had just done a conference call with her oncologist a few hours earlier. He said she only has weeks left. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 6. He doesn't know. Those were his words. She said it was the hardest phone call she had ever received in her life. She's on oxygen all the time now. Her pancreas cancer metastasized. He told us the tumors had taken over 75% of her lungs. She gets winded putting on her shoes or making a sandwich. She said, "How stupid, I lose my breath making a sandwich. What is wrong with me? I don't understand. Other than that, I feel fine." The doctor said she is not fine. Her body was in a weakened state from the chemo and could not handle any more treatment. She talked about how she was mad at the Catholic Church about all of the abuse. She wrote an article for the Catholic Diocese last year, and the research had tainted her affinity for the church she grew up in. She said she liked the Episcopal Church. It had the same sense of ritual and ceremony, but was more progressive and supportive of women. She said she would like to talk to an Episcopal minister. She said she felt guilty for not taking my younger brother to Sunday school when he was little. Throughout her illness, she's been writing a book. She said she needs to send her book proposal out to editors. She said she wants me to finish her book for her. She asked me if I would. I paused. I did not want to. I did not want to commit to that because I knew I never would, and I would feel eternally guilty for the rest of my life over never finishing it. So I said, yes, I will finish her book. What else could I say? Her book is about caregiving. Jesus, she titled it, Taking the Hell Out of Caregiving. What about your other book, I asked. The story about the two little boys. I'd rather finish that one. Oh, that one isn't really far enough along, but okay, you can finish that one too, she replied. That one was fiction and reminded me of my boys. I told her about Leo and how he is so taken with Greek mythology, how he dressed as Poseidon and performed in character for his class on Zoom. She told me about a Greek play she was in as a teenager. I feel fine, she said again. She said she was completely shocked at her oncologist's words. He doesn't know my spirit, she said. She cannot believe he's not going to try any other chemo. There is nothing else we can do for you, he had said so plainly. She had pushed back and said, well, I can't believe that's it, and you're just giving up on me. He meekly said, well, no, I'm not saying that. She told him she felt like he was just placating her and waiting for her to die. She talked to me about passing away. She said, we do not need to have a wake for her in the middle of the pandemic. We can just wait until it is over. She talked to me about losing her balance in the shower. We talked about how she can sit on the chair in the shower and soap up her front and not worry about soaping up her back. I told her she could just shampoo her hair, and when she rinsed out the shampoo, that would be enough soap to clean her back. She said, but I don't have any hair anymore. Your daddy shaved it all off. I forgot. I forgot she was bald. She had lost all her hair again from the chemo. Her voice was strong and clear, so it's easy to forget that we were in the middle of a nightmare. She's still my mom, so I wanted to forget that she's dying. She does not want me to fly there because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but I could not go and see my mom. I booked a flight and planned to fly there on Saturday. My aunt, who is in medical, told me to travel with 3 masks and 5 pairs of gloves. She said to make a sanitizing spray from 1/3 cup bleach and 1 gallon of water. I had written this down on a scrap of paper. I plan to spray everything anyone touches and wipe things down constantly my whole way there. I lied in bed that night and went over it again and again in my head. I'm going to wear my mask the entire time and not even drink on the plane. I won't take down my tray table. I won't sit next to any other person or even sit down while I'm waiting to board the plane in the airport. I will not check my bag, and I will not carry a separate purse. I'll wear a small crossbody that I can stuff in my suitcase when I go through security so that I do not have to put it in the plastic bin because I don't want it to touch anything. When my brother picks me up from the airport, I will put my suitcase in his trunk and sit in the back seat of his car. When I get to my parents' home, I will immediately put all of my clothes and shoes in a bag, take a shower, and then change into new clothes before I go anywhere near my mom. Then I will spend what very well may be the last week I will ever get to spend on this earth with my mom. And it was.
Thanks, Kristen. Yeah, I know. All right. Okay, next we have Jenny Lind Conley. She is a Portland-based writer and performer, and she's excited to be back for her 3rd Expressing Motherhood experience, she says, but we're really excited to have you back, Jenny, so I'm going to spotlight you. Okay.
Thank you. How many kids with ADHD does it take to change a light bulb want to go ride bikes? Distance learning with my 3rd grade twin boys. What could go wrong? Short answer, everything. Teachers are saints, aren't they? They thought they'd figure out how to teach our monsters and create this noble career for themselves. Then, like everything else, pandemic. They've had to figure out how to teach all over again. I thought the newness factor of doing school online with iPads would at least get us through the first week. Surely it would have at least some novelty for my technology-loving kids. I thought they'd at minimum enjoy seeing familiar faces of classmates. By afternoon day one, we had already lost that new car smell. When what you're doing isn't working, do something else. We had to pivot. So now we're doing a hybrid that consists of curriculum provided by the school with a combination of things I've created. It may be the educational equivalent to Frankenstein's monster, and to be honest, I look and feel like Igor most days. But the most success I've had in this has been creating cute little fake passports and taking my kids on adventures to different countries. We watch educational videos, draw the flag and landmark for that country, and they look forward to it. And truthfully, so do I. It's the closest I've ever been to being one of those Pinterest moms. And sometimes when your world feels small, you need to be reminded that it's bigger and that this season isn't forever. Someday we'll explore the world together. For now, we'll do so from the living room. Passport to adventure for the win. Know what else is awesome? Virtual therapy. Can I give a shout out to our team of medical and mental health professionals? And I mean specifically just for the ones for my family, because wow. When they say it takes a village, they weren't kidding. I may be up the creek, but with their help, I've been given 2 paddles, a compass, and a life vest. This pandemic sucks for everyone. No one is exempt. Everyone is doing everything they can. So there's no use being angry. Keep up the good work. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance. Oh, and be kind. Kindness is like a magical little black dress that looks great on everyone. We'll get through this together, but separate. Thanks.
Thank you. Jenny for president. Okay, so next up we have Mommy Tonk. So clear the kids out of the room. Mommy Tonk is a singing duo, Stacey Burrows and Shannon Noel. They met while doing Expressing Motherhood. They have music for sale on iTunes, and they also have a DVD or CD, whatever you call them. I'm so old. Okay, Mommy Tonk.
Hey, hello everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Happy Expressing Motherhood.
Happy global pandemic to you.
Happy 8-9 months?
Right.
Something like that.
We are in our ninth month of lockdown.
That's
here in
enough
Los
time to have a
Angeles.
baby. We should have done that.
No, we shouldn't have. Anywho, nothing wrong with babies. We each have 15 of them. All right, listen. I thought going into this lockdown that doing Zoom school during a global pandemic was going to be hard.
Yeah. I thought not seeing my friends and family for like weeks on end was going to be challenging. Boy, was I wrong.
No, actually, this has been fantastic. And the most surprising thing of all is that I'm handling the stress very well.
Oh, yes, you are. You are. You
Yeah.
absolutely are. Look, I am very, very nice to all of the people in my household, especially my husband. I'm super nice to him.
That's right. I've been juicing and making healthy choices.
Oh, I've been drinking calming tea and
Oh
meditating.
my gosh, absolutely. I mean, listen, we all are human and we do occasionally experience big emotions. But here's the thing I'm most proud about is
What?
that I kind of developed some strategies to just work through those big feelings, and nobody in my family feels put out by my emotions.
That is great, Stacey.
Well, I'm happy to share my strategies with everybody if you want to hear what I do.
Thank you. This is very nice. I think everybody needs to hear your
I'm here
strategies.
to help. Come
Aw,
on.
you're a
Listen, If you
helper.
start feeling a little whatever, here you can do what I do. You ready? Here we go. I stomp on the floor and I threaten to leave. I packed a bag, I'm gonna grab my keys, and I see a mess on my way out the door. So I stop for a minute and I sweep the floor.
But right after that, I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna drive myself to the nearest bar. I haven't had a minute to myself, and I need some liquor from the tippy top shelf.
Well, fuck that noise, I forgot up my mask. Can you bring it to the car? Is that too much to ask? What the hell is on my PPE? I had that mask made especially for me.
It's got a heart in the middle and it's monogrammed. It says M-O-M, what do you not understand? I cleaned it and hung it in its special place, and then you used it to wipe your grimy face.
Well, give it to me, cause it'll have to do, cause I'm headed to the bar to get away from you. I need to meet up with my old friends, Tito and Jack, and possibly Jim.
What fresh hell, the bar is closed, even though I got this mask over my mouth and nose. How's this bitch gonna blow off some steam? I need a little something for my self-esteem.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. I only know about me, I don't know about you. My vision gets blurry and I can't see straight. I'm like a restless bull breaking through the gate.
I'm seeing red and my nostrils flare. Only get in my way if you fucking dare. This has been bubbling for quite some time. I check my phone and yup, it's snap time. It's snap time. This is a heavy load. I just might explode.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I hate to interrupt you.
Whoa.
Are you saying it's nap time?
Oh, no, not
Are
nap
you
time.
saying snack time?
No, girl. It is a snap
Yes,
time.
okay, because that's what I was saying.
I
Snap
thought so,
time.
yeah,
And
we're
I
on-
want to make sure we're on the same
we
page
are.
and that they know what
Oh,
page we're on.
Snap
Snap
time.
time.
Yup, it's snap time. It's snap time.
But I let you
No, I'm about to blow.
I grab my monogram mask and get back in the car, and I drive away from my favorite bar. In the rear view mirror I see all of my friends, Tito and Jack, and oh there's Jim.
Now Jim is crying, and I know why, 'cause we're both no good when our well is dry. Well, Jim's left crying all alone, but I got mouths to feed way back at home.
Now snapping ain't pretty no matter who you are, if you're a regular person or a big old star. Everybody snaps like a rubber band, there's only so much shit that a person can stand.
So when you feel yourself tearing at the seams, think what a good mom does and just what that means. Now forget that bitch, 'cause she left town the minute COVID-19 came around.
And the only one left in her midst is the shell of you, and she is pissed. Don't leave her there all alone and blue. Exercise those demons inside of you. It's
Snap time. It's snap time. This is a heavy load. I just might explode. Yup, it's snap time. It's snap time. I thought I'd let you know I'm about to blow.
good luck with your mood swings. I'll catch you in that padded cell.
Thank you all. Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you, Mommy Tom Tonk. Yay. Okay, let's see. Next up we have Minna Dubin. She is a writer in the Bay Area, and she has written for the New York Times, The Forward, the Philadelphia Inquirer, Parents, Romper, Mother Magazine, and various literary magazines. She is currently working on a book about mom rage in 10-minute increments when she's not eating chocolate and texting in the bathroom, hiding from her kids. Okay. All right, you got it.
All right. 2 weeks ago, the schools closed. Then our heater quit too. At breakfast, I watched the puffs of fog push out of my 7-year-old's mouth as he rattles on about Pokemon. I turned to my husband, just a hint of Jewish mother in my voice. I see his breath. So what? It's okay, he says. Whoa, I think, and let it go. That evening, while I'm making dinner, I get a text from my husband, who's 15 feet away, working in the bedroom. I know it's a pain in the ass, he writes, but we should really go out and get space heaters tonight. Come on, I text back. We do not need space heaters. It's just a few days. Since the pandemic began, we take turns being the grown-up who holds it together. Many frosty days later, after listening to me complain about the heater, seeing me wrapped in a big sweater under my bed covers, my therapist on Zoom says gently, maybe making things a little more comfortable is okay, especially during this time when things are hard. Right, I think. Duh. But that therapy self-love dissolves quickly and my resolve around the space heaters thickens an hour later. A couple days later, our 3-year-old steps outside of our icebox cave to see what the world feels like. She runs back in screaming, "Mama, Mama, there's sun." I stand with her on the back step, our faces lit towards the sky. "Ah," I say. "It feels so good," she says. And I laugh because it does, and because sometimes the 3-year-old is the one who holds it together. After we put the kids to bed that night, my husband and I immediately retreat to our bedroom, get under the covers, and open our laptops to continue the work we are no longer able to finish in the daytime, now that school is a memory of olden times, like rotary phones. The kids have been going right to sleep lately. I guess it's too cold for my daughter to play her "I need a bunch of bullshit" game she likes to play after we say goodnight. My husband does paperwork and watches Mel Brooks videos using his headphones. I try to feel my feelings and write them down, typing with icy fingers. When I tire of myself, I read COVID-19 news or scroll through Instagram. I don't know which is worse. At least overachieving moms have stopped sharing their color-coded homeschooling schedules. The sourdough has not eased up, though. I type a cynical quarantine life thought, then hesitate, then post. I wonder if there will be a generation of kids whose parents got divorced in 2020. Half the people who respond say, "Or a whole generation of quarantine babies." Whoa, I think. People are feeling horny? I am doing this quarantine all wrong. I glance over at my husband, deep in his Mel Brooks world, snorting and shaking with laughter. I turn back to my phone. A post says, "So bras and jeans are over, right?" I chuckle, then go to sleep. The next day, I go braless. I think putting on a whole fresh outfit and omitting a bra is a real "fuck you, patriarchy." I don't do that. I just never take off my pajamas. The following morning, my husband gently touches my shoulder. "You should get dressed today," he says. "It'll make you feel good." I see myself turning into a tiger and letting out a deafening roar in his face. Instead, I shrug him off and think defensively as I slide my bra straps over my shoulders. I tweezed my chin hair. That afternoon, a guy comes to look at our heater. He rings the doorbell when he's finished. I open the door and we both step back a few feet. Our eyes meet. I feel a jolt. Man in the wild, man in the wild. "We can fix the heater on Tuesday," he says. I lower my eyelids and give him bedroom eyes. "Thank you so much." "No problem," he smiles. Then I close the door and sanitize my cold hands after that dirty quarantine foreplay. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Stephanie Wiley. She is a photographer. Stephanie is a writer and a mom who recently moved to Montana. She has been sharing the loss of her son, Tommy, at lifeaftertommy.com. Stephanie shares as she wants to lift the stigma of addiction, and we're so grateful that Stephanie is here tonight. I'm gonna find her. Okay, Stephanie.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, great. I wish I was here to talk about how hard mothering is right now. To have my kids home, doing school on Zoom and driving me crazy. My son Tommy died in June. On June 12th, I found him. He had turned 18 in March, right when the COVID shutdown happened and had barely graduated from high school a week before he died. He struggled with the disease of addiction, and I truly believe that the shutdown of our society made it worse. This wasn't supposed to be our story. Ours was supposed to be the one where I left first. He was supposed to experience all that life has to offer, the good and the bad. He should have gone to college, gotten a job, gotten married, had kids. I should have gotten to know his kids. He should have had kids. Ours is a story of sorrow and sadness. Of course, there are happy memories, but it's all shrouded in grief. The shame that comes from addiction and the isolation that COVID has caused for so many is our story. I'm a mom who lost her son to addiction. I couldn't save him, but I will share his story. COVID made it worse. The isolation was debilitating in recovery. He had gone to rehab. He was in outpatient therapy, but it was all over Zoom. No in-person contact, no in-person support. He was literally isolated in his room, and the pain was too great. He felt like he was living in a tunnel with no way out. Tommy had a larger-than-life presence. He was 5'9" with wild, wavy, sandy blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes with a speck of gold in them. He was so handsome and had a streak of kindness that could melt anyone's heart. He made everyone feel heard and like he was their best friend. He gave hugs freely and was never scared of being judged. I'm determined to be vocal about his struggles with addiction because there shouldn't be shame in this. I wish I could have taken that shame from him. I'm so sorry that our story in this life had to include him dying. I wouldn't wish this pain on my worst enemy. When the kids are running you ragged and everyone is doing school at home, try to take a breath to appreciate that they're under your roof. What I wouldn't give to have one more moment of him bothering me, not being able to find something, needing food, needing a back rub, laundry done, a ride. I don't care what it is, I'd do anything to have that back. I'm devastated. I've never known sorrow or grief like this. I've never known the physical pain associated with grief. I've really never even known how to approach or talk to someone else who's been in this horrific situation. But now I know. There's nothing that anyone can say to make it better or to help. Now I know that all you need to do is be there. Say you're sorry, talk about their person, listen, just be there. I will continue to tell Tommy's story, the story of a kid who got concussions and in an effort to dull the pain with a prescription started using. The story of a kid with addiction in his genetics who tried the wrong drug and wasn't able to turn back. It can take just one pill, and you don't have much chance of turning back the clock. The street drugs these days are laced with fentanyl. I've drowned myself in information gathering, hoping that I'll be able to help someone else through education. One pill can be lethal. It's been 5 months since Tommy died. I found him. I gave the eulogy at his funeral. This is every parent's worst nightmare. And in saying that, I'm so thankful that I'm the one who found him. The one person who would have literally done anything under the sun to help him, to save him. I am forever changed. I'll never be the same person. For my child who died, I'll share this. He tried to get clean. He wanted desperately to turn back the clock. It was too late. He was the kid who tried to get clean, but whose brain just kept telling him that he needed the drugs. The kid who was so well liked by everyone, but the power of addiction made it impossible for him to be saved. This is the story I'll tell in the hopes that maybe someone else won't feel alone or won't feel the shame or will be saved. I couldn't save Tommy, but I will continue moving forward in hopes of saving someone else, or just making sure that people whose kids are struggling, or spouses, or whomever they are trying to protect, know that they're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie can read the comments. But yeah, thanks for sharing, Stephanie. And everyone stick around after the show. We have 3 more performers and we'll have a Q&A. So next up we have Saguta Miller. She has been a theater actress for over 40 years and she's presently writing her one-woman show. Swimming is her passion, and being the regional director of Lithuanian Scouts keeps her connected to her roots. She says she's honored to be in Expressing Motherhood again, but I'm honored to have people return. So, okay, Saguta.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
I've been fired. I didn't see it coming, but if I were really honest, which I'm trying to be, I did. I felt it coming. I felt it in my gut. I had gotten better, easing off a bit. Too little, too late. Ouch. This one hurt. It hurt more than the time when I was in my early 20s, a rising star in retail, on Rodeo Drive nonetheless. Having gotten to a managerial position quite quickly, my innate abilities for communication, hard work, and team spirit increased business for the store over 50%. But this was the 80s. Drugs, disco, and alcohol overtook my sensibilities. I was transferred to the other store in Century City. After 4 years in retail, I burned out and was burned out. When I gave my 2 weeks notice, my boss said, "Don't bother." Wow, that was a painful pill to swallow. But I got it. This too is a painful pill to swallow. You've heard of helicopter parents? Well, I'm of another breed. Helicopters have nothing on me. I am a drone mother. I come with upgrades which include anxiety, bleeding hearts, and sleepless nights filled with fear, future events already ruined, fear. COVID ambushed a lot of the hard work I've done on myself regarding parenting. COVID broke my daughter's heart when she was furloughed from her job and position she worked for years through college to get. The ongoing pandemic made me tell my daughter to look at the positive, sweetheart. Take this time to nurture yourself. Meditate, be in nature, hug trees, do yoga, etc., etc., etc. My daughter's texts and calls became less frequent. My worrisome heart and mind took flight. Calling her, I asked, "Are we okay?" Pause. "Yes, but I'm taking some time." Time for what? I panicked. She was seeing a wonderful therapist, saw an astrologer and a psychic. She said some words I don't really remember, something about I'm unpacking and I'm navigating. I'll let you know. Boom. Fired. Let go of being her confidant and best friend. I pulled myself together and said, "I understand, sweetheart. I'm really glad you're taking care of yourself." "Thank you," she said. My higher consciousness knew this was important, necessary. My lower-minded self, and there it is, self, my lower-minded self made it about me. My brain swirled with the harms I caused her. Oh God, where will the time away leave us? What will our relationship look like? I fretted. I yearned for the past to be different. I blamed myself for the chasm between us. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be. I did. I let it be. I allowed her the space she needed. A few times I overheard my husband talking with her. Ooh, that jealousy little bug, not a monster anymore, momentarily appeared. I paused, shifted my thoughts to how wonderful that she's connecting with her father. I love that. Yet there was a slight, I'm not invited to that party feeling. There always is that fork in the road we can take. In this case, I could wallow in self-pity, lick my wounds, thrash myself for the horrible fears she experienced because of me. Or I can choose a new path, stay in the light, which enters when I allow myself an opportunity to see the bigger picture. Allowing my girl to grow in her own way, feeling the pangs of loss and grief due to COVID's halting of life as we knew it. Occasionally texting her a photo of nature or some cool political joke, I gently kept a connection with her. Recently, I heard the butterfly metaphor, how it symbolizes the cocoon. The struggle of the cocoon is necessary. If one tries to help, it will never become a butterfly. It has to do it on its own. Beautiful, profound. I accept Mother Nature's wisdom. In letting my daughter be, I allow her magnificent butterfly to manifest. Just stay out of her way, Sugita. COVID or not, let it be. Let her be. Thank you.
Thanks, Siguta. And Siguta has a beautiful story up on our podcast about drinking. So you can check that out on our podcast. Siguta is very easy to listen to. All right, we have two more performers. Next up, we have April Wish. She's a mother to a 4-year-old and a just turned 7-year-old. She's attempting to write and perform in her second one-woman show within the next few months, but she keeps getting sidetracked by laundry. So, April.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, you got it.
Day 4 of Safer at Home. I panicked and I bought a cup of caterpillars online. You see, I could see already that we were going to miss the Kids Space Butterfly Festival this year, and we have these beautiful matching butterfly capes to show off. And I figured it would be a lot of entertainment for the kids to see them transform, but also that I would get to tell people on Facebook that we did science, and to take out my fancy camera and get some of those sun-kissed photos in those capes. Perhaps use the bougainvillea in the backyard for a backdrop. I tell myself that this is because I want to spread light and joy that my kids are, but it's also probably a little also because to make Karen jealous and show Jane that I'm a good mom, and to snidely let Valerie know that she's not the only one with a gifted child, and to keep up with Amber, who always seems to outpace me no matter how hard I try. Now, I look at the caterpillars, clutching on the top of the cup, turned upside down as the world is turned upside down around them too. They turn upside down like this to make the big change. I spot one as she wriggles and bucks, slowly encasing herself from the bottom up. It's a violent thing to watch. She twitches while the others fight for one another for space, and a few fall and they have to crawl back up. I mean, it turns my stomach to watch. Makes my skin crawl. This isn't the beautiful miracle of nature I expect it to be. It's painful. It's a violent thing to watch. In the past, When we bought caterpillars online, we left them on the shelf in my daughter's room, and we would wake up and delight about how much they changed overnight, and then we would run off to wherever and forget about them for the rest of the day. But now they sit on the dining room on a counter by the dog treats, and we go back to them more frequently, and I pretend to marvel at how big they got and how cool it is to watch them transform, while I secretly choke down the anxiety I feel about how we are running out of time with them. See, they won't be here to entertain us soon. They'll fly off and leave us here alone in our own safe at-home cocoon. I force myself to watch the second as she transforms. I listened to a podcast once about what happens inside the chrysalis. They become this kind of goo. If you cut one open, the caterpillar is gone. It's liquidated. And now, on day 9 million of social distancing, without the tools of motherhood that I have so often used to pass this longest, shortest time together, you know, play dates and grandparents and festivals and parades and Disneyland, I too am goo. Cocooned in this house. Cocooned in the barrage of bad news on the news. Cocooned in your Instagram stories and in the paralyzing fear that I am nothing but ordinary. I am twitching, trying to rearrange the parts of me that crawl on the ground in the hopes that I'll be able to fly free of the weight of envy and comparison. Someday.
Yay. Thank you, April. All right, we have one more for you all, and stick around for our Q&A. We have Hannah Cox. She lives in Los Angeles. She's an artist, and she's a mother to Jackson and Susanna. Let me get you. Sorry. All right, Hannah.
My mom decides she wants to visit the Savannahs. It's a place dear to her heart. She has spent hours painting there over the years with her artist friends. The Savannahs are the northern edge of the Everglades near Mom's house in Florida. The trip seems momentous. It will probably be the last time there. I wonder if she's thinking this. My sweet niece will go with us. I'm visiting from Los Angeles. I usually go see my parents every 2 months. Mom is 82 and was diagnosed with leukemia in January. We had seen that her health was sliding. She got smaller and weaker, but we didn't know why. It seemed like she slid faster after we got the diagnosis. No one could tell us how long she had, and there was no treatment. Then COVID hit. I talked to Mom every day on the phone, but that wore thin. Even though she has my brother and sister and their families near her, she always asked when I would be coming back. She wanted us all. I decided that I would regret not spending time with her more than I was worried about getting sick. So I got on the plane and spent 3 weeks with Mom and Dad in August. When I got to my parents' house, I sat on the patio, far from everyone, with a mask on for the first week. It was over 90 degrees and 100% humidity. My parents didn't care. They are Florida people. Dad set up a fan. On the way to the Savannahs, we drive along Indian River past the quirky trailer parks and bait shops that remind me of my childhood. Mom taps the big opal ring Dad made her on the window to get us to look at something interesting she sees outside. It used to drive me crazy when she did that, and now my kids point out that I do it too. We turn inland and enter the park. Mom points out a rutted dirt road to follow. At the end are the covered picnic tables where she always ate lunch with her friends. We get out and sit at a table. I realize we haven't brought a lunch or even a bottle of water. When will I grow up? The landscape lies open before us. Spiky palmetto bushes rim the edge of the vast swamp, and behind them stand scruffy Dade County pines. I thought they were ugly when I was little. Now I see them through Mom's eyes, and they are lovely. It is sweltering, but there is a breeze. No one is out here with us, so we don't have to wear masks, and COVID is far from our minds. I watch my mom looking. She has her head tilted up as if noticing a smell. Her green eyes are clear. She turns her head slowly, taking it all in. The swaying grasses, the lily pads, the gently rippling water, darting dragonflies, baby alligator, egrets, soft blue sky. We don't speak. I feel the urge to ask her how it feels to be here, how it feels to be dying. I don't want her to be alone in her head, but I don't want to interrupt her. She's showing me something, silently teaching me how to be, how to absorb the world, its twists and terrifying turns. Turn your head toward nature, she is saying to her 59-year-old child. You can handle it. It will be okay.
Bravo. Thank you, Hannah. That's our show, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. You can all maybe unmute. You can unmute yourselves now.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah,
Great job, everybody.
This was so fun.
If anybody has a question, you can type it there for any of you who have attended. Yeah. Good job, Shannon, taking a picture. But thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your stories. I mean, just looking at the comments and knowing myself, my own reactions, you know, you definitely have touched everybody. So thanks for sharing.
Hi, Nicole's baby.
I know. Okay. Oh, maybe I should do this in the Q&A. I don't know if anybody has a question. Open questions. I don't know how to do that. Okay. We do need a Netflix special. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody have a question? Oh, someone has a question for Stephanie. First, what you wrote was so beautiful, and we all miss Tommy so much. But my question really is, are there a reason your glasses are so enormous? Okay, that's from me.
Love your
That
glasses.
is because I'm old and I need to be able to see.
I need to know where you got them. I love them.
They're Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Jenny,
You can't beat it.
they're so cute. Jenny, Stephanie always gets cute stuff off Amazon too, which I copy her off. Jenny says, Lindsay, how do you choose who speaks? I hold an open submission, and then people submit to me, and then I choose them. I normally, I edit pieces a lot. It's been really stressful the last few weeks. So anyway, these women all came with their pieces ready to go. So that's how I do it. But I will hold submissions for the January show soon. The December one is already cast. Jenny Lynn, your glasses are on fire as well.
Nobody asked, but I'm not wearing pants.
I was wondering.
Thanks, Jenny.
I knew Mommy Talk wanted to know.
They
I
did.
want to know about
Thank
your
you.
pants situation.
Kira, do you do spoken word poetry? Your piece was so gorgeous and powerful.
Thank you. Yes, I do. I do spoken word poetry here and there. The book I'm writing is about poetry, but thank you so much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way you speak is poetic. I mean, clear. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us. At least Shannon has a top on, Suzanne is saying. That's true.
Well, that can change, y'all.
No,
Immediately.
don't
You got your dollars.
Don't tempt Shannon.
Yeah, don't.
You are tempting fate, Lindsay.
Yeah. Somebody says, how do you find time to write?
I write on my cell phone a lot while I'm nursing.
Oh,
Wow.
Right.
That's fun. I got really good at being able to highlight, select, cut, and then like paste it in somewhere else, all with my phone. So I'm proud of the skills I'm developing.
I keep a pad next to my bed in the middle of the night or whenever inspiration hits, just so it's readily available. Mm-hmm.
I text to talk on my phone.
Oh.
Show us the money, Susanna.
Oh.
I mean, who's that?
Suzanne.
Minute
Stacey and I
House.
do a lot
Suzanne
of
Weird. Show us the money.
Stacey and I do a lot of texting back and forth, and somehow
It becomes a song.
Mommy Tonk is quarantine. They're quarantine buddies, so they're together.
In a
Minute, how
pod.
are you finding time to write? Because you have a book about mom rage. So, do you have a deadline?
I'm actually just writing the proposal, so
Okay.
I don't yet have a publisher. But I make my agent give me deadlines because otherwise I never write anything. I am lucky enough to have a partner who doesn't work 100% full time. So, you know, he works like Monday noon to 6:30. So then I work, 8 a.m. to noon.
Yeah.
So we kind of like high five and switch off and go into the bedroom and write.
Amongst other things.
Yeah.
I was like, there's so many jokes. There's so many punchlines to that. We high five and then we go into the bedroom.
But it is good to have. I'm always grateful when people admit like that they have the support system, because it's so hard to be creative if you don't have that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know if you can see them, Lindsay, but there's some questions in the Q&A.
Oh, I did not. Thank you. Okay. Holly Stewart says, thank you very much to all the storytellers and the director. Very moving, touching, and fun and upbeat. Thank you, Holly. Teresa says, I'd love to know what city, state, or country each panelist is from.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, originally New Orleans.
Yeah.
Originally Los Angeles, now Montana.
Shannon and I come from the moon. Haley's from Texas. And Shannon's from Louisville, Kentucky.
But we're in LA.
Los Angeles, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jenny's
Australia.
in Portland. It's a lot of
Portland.
LA people, but my base is so strong. And Tully's in Australia.
I'm in the Bay Area.
Yeah, you're in the Bay Area. That's right. It takes a lot of work to get the submissions, and this was just. You guys are awesome. I just, this is who submitted. So tell all your friends in Iowa, and well, my friends and I. You guys tell your people to submit for, future shows. I'm always looking to diversify the show in all the ways. So.
Lindsay, Sarah wants to know what's the first thing we'll do when quarantine is over.
I'm legitimately going to Disneyland.
Yes.
I cannot wait to go to
Live
Disneyland.
music. Like your own.
Yeah.
Somebody says, will there be a link to the show? This is being recorded, so I'm going to try to upload it to YouTube. I was hoping to do that, so I'll try to do that. And then someone says, how has Expressing Motherhood over the past 12 years? I'm not totally sure on that one, Holly. Sorry. But yeah, thanks. I will try to put this up on YouTube.
Hey, Lindsay, do we have any special guests watching tonight?
We might have somebody who turned 50.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Boston, Boston producer Sabrina Cavett. We have two Boston producers watching tonight, but Sabrina Cavett, my sister-in-law, turned 50.
Oh, she did. Is she tuning in right now by any chance?
Sabrina, are you still here? She goes to bed really early.
No.
Sabrina?
Tell us if you're here. Oh, God, I hope you're here.
I do too. Oh, God.
Better text her.
Lord,
Tell her
text
to
her
hop
and come
back
back
on.
on.
I will.
We wrote her a song.
Yeah, Sabrina. Anyway, are there any more questions? Anybody?
Someone asked what's the first thing we're going to do when quarantine's over.
Oh, okay. You guys can answer. Sorry. Oh, there's,
Lick the ground.
What? What was that one?
I said lick the ground. I don't know.
I'm going to lick a stranger.
She will lick
Yeah,
strangers.
basically.
tonight, 155 people attended. Somebody was asking, so that's amazing.
Oh,
Job.
It's great.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Thank you,
all
Lindsay.
so much. I think Sabrina might have gone to bed.
Well,
I knew this was pushing it for her at the very end.
I know.
The time, my sister-in-law goes to bed early, but.
Hi, Joan.
It's Joan.
Welcome back, Joan.
Holly, how has Expressing Motherhood evolved? It's evolved in if you come to a show in LA, I mean, it's generally, we're a bit more diverse than what is shown right now, but this was, it's extremely hard to do things right now. So it's become more diverse and a lot of things, but yeah, right? Trial and error.
Well, and also in the beginning, Lindsay, you used to do like 8 or 9 shows. It was like a run, like a theater run. And
That's
then
right.
over the years, you kind of reduced the number of performances, but you did more shows throughout the year, if I remember correctly, giving more storytellers an opportunity to share their pieces. So as opposed to one cast having, 8 shows, you would give one cast maybe 2 shows or 3 shows, and then do another whole cast. So
I used to. Now, right. We used to do like longer runs. Yeah. So this way more people can be heard. Yeah. Anyway. All right, you guys. I don't want to make everyone stick around, but check each other out and get tickets for the December show. And if you're interested in submitting, please do so for our January show.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you, Lindsay.
It
was
Bye,
great.
everybody. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies. Beautiful
Bye.
stories.
Really good.
You too.
Stephanie, going after you was like, talk about having to just like,
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, you did amazing. So
I was so moved. I'm like, I can do this.
thank you.
Thank you for going after
Thank
her
you.
because I know that's generally what I would have had intermission. But
yeah.
And Saguta, you were great too, honestly.
Yeah.
You took a moment, where you took that moment, which was really nice.
oh no, thanks.
Yeah.
But life is heavy, so it's life.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's
like
beautiful and inspiring, Stephanie, truly. And
Thank
everything
you.
rocked it tonight. Just rocked it. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you. You all were really beautiful. I mean, everything was just great. Thank you so much. Truly. I hope you enjoyed your experience and please keep in touch. I always love to promote things that are going on.
Oh, the first thing I'm going to do actually when I get out of quarantine is I'm going to meet Susanna Morgan for a margarita, and it's going to be this big.
Oh my God. Yes, please.
It sounds good. Okay.
And then she
All right.
can lick us and do shots off us.
Well,
Or you
what
could
she does.
Okay. Show me the money.
That baby, Nicole. Oh my God.
Yeah, she's great.
Priceless.
She's fed twice and 2 poop diapers, so we're a bit busy.
You are so precious.
Good job, Nicole.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, take care, you guys.
You.
Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.